Mario dancing a solo today. I didn't even join in. I get shy now that we've started calling ourselves out on our dance moves. Welcome everybody to episode 99 of Unhacked, broadcasting live from Egypt. Mario,
Yep.
Tell everybody what's going on. You are not home. What's up?
No, I am on week 3 of my 4-week amazing vacation in seriously, like the real beautiful, Egypt. I always said beautiful New Jersey. New Jersey can't hold a candle to this country. We've been here for 3 weeks, and I think we've probably seen one cloud the entire
Whoa.
3 weeks. It's hot, but it's amazing. The weather is beautiful. The people are amazing. The food. I don't even want to tell you how much weight I've gained.
I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous. One of these days, we're going to have to bring everybody down there and do a full live episode from Egypt. That would be pretty cool. Didn't you buy a house down there, or you're in the process?
We did. They're actually still building. We're probably about anywhere from 18 months to 24 months before getting delivery.
That takes a long time to build a house down there.
Well, they're building a whole compound. It's like
okay.
I think it's like something like 360 units. So we're one of like something like that. So they're building the whole compound, pools, lagoons, beachfronts, hotels and on the compounds. It's huge. It's going to be like a little mini city. So that's why it's not just a house they're building. They're building like a whole compound area.
All right. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but once that opens up, I'm going to say let's build us a little mobile studio over there, and we'll come crash your place and record live. We have to broadcast live, so we have to do it like what, at midnight or something. I don't know.
Well, it's right now as we're recording. It's 10 p.m. here, and you're what?
On the West Coast, it's noon. On the East Coast, it's 3 p.m. So you're
I'm 7 hours ahead of East Coast.
Other side of the world. Crazy stuff. Well, I appreciate you being here for reals. I know you're on vacation. You can see, guys, look around the room. For those watching on video, it's just the two of us. The guys who are not on vacation aren't here. Josh, Brian, calling you out. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive in, Mario. Episode 99. So we've just spent, we spent 12 weeks talking about cybersecurity basics. Then we spent about 12 weeks, give or take, talking about AI and all the cool things we can do with AI. And as I was sitting here thinking, all right, what are we going to do next? I did a little research and I learned something I did not know, and I'm a little bit embarrassed about this. Insurance is changing, as well it should. But that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we take the basics, because the cybersecurity basics we talked about were not specific to AI. Then we just opened up the whole can of worms. Like, here's everything you can do with AI, as of these recording dates, because it changes every day. And now we're going to bring that back to really applying the basics. So, Mario, I tasked you with doing a little bit of research on what insurance is up to these days. Tell me what you found.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple different things that insurance companies are starting to exclude from policies, and a lot of it has to do with what we've been saying from day one. You're going to do this, you're going to vibe code, you got to do it in a secure manner. You got to be careful what you're putting in to the system, because you don't know what it's going to do, and be careful with what it's going to write. So one of the things that they're excluding, which to me actually was very big, was discrimination cases involving AI resume screening. So I know there's a couple different people that have designed stuff like they want to be able to upload the resumes, and here's my criteria so that I am hiring. I want somebody that's doing this, this, and this, and this. And the AI, it may just read too deep into what you're entering, and it could discriminate against certain candidates. And as a result, you could end up having like a lawsuit, and then if you have like certain types of insurances that cover you against that, like business liability insurance, they may not cover it.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that wasn't on my radar at all. As we've just talked about vibe coding, we have talked about security. We keep bringing that back, but this is something that's also kind of new. Is they're excluding if we do something, leave something open, right, and data gets leaked, which is what always happens. Somebody gets a hold of data they're not supposed to get a hold of, then that is causing exclusions in insurance payouts as well. So it's just time to like really go back and audit, review, however you want to look at it, everything that we've talked about, everything that we do in our business, where technology touches it or where data is accessible.
Yeah, and I mean, we see some clients either doing it on their own, where we're also trying to help them. But we're when we do it for clients, we're doing it in the most secure manner. But what another thing that companies or insurance companies are excluding is if you've vibe coded your own system, you've put in your own data in there, and you're operating out of it, but you haven't obviously, you missed something, AI missed something, and all your data is missing, not necessarily like a ransomware type of situation, but the end result is still the same. You can't operate your company. They're excluding that. They're like, well, you know, we're not covering your negligence, essentially.
And I'm gonna rat on myself a little bit here. I've debated whether I should publicly admit this, but when I go back when I first started vibe coding, and now admittedly nothing was published, nothing was, no real data was at stake, but the first thing that I built, while I thought there was security in it, there was nothing. There was just no security. This thing almost got released, almost leaked data, or potentially could have, which is the same thing, by the way. If it could have been accessed, you just have to assume it was. And the very first thing that I vibe coded would have exposed all kinds of stuff that I didn't want exposed. And I'm just saying that because I was at a networking meeting a while back, and I'm talking to people that are vibe coding that have no background whatsoever in technology. And it is amazing the things we just spent 12 episodes talking about, the really cool stuff you can do, the ROI that you can turn out using these tools. They're incredible tools, but we've got to get really serious about the security side of it. So I'm going to read some statistics. Everybody loves statistics. There was an IBM just released a cost of data breach report or something like that. So global average cost of a breach is up 12%. Doesn't sound like much. It's 4.99 million. That number doesn't really mean anything to me because it's specific to the company size, right? And if you go to unhackmybusiness.com, you put in your company profile, and we do all the math so that these numbers actually are relevant to your specific business. So I highly recommend going that route. But regardless, we're up 12%. The breaches are costing more and more. Malicious breaches that were AI enabled is a 56% jump over last year. So going up like
Wow,
56%. That's huge. Average cost of those AI enabled breaches, 6 million. So 1 million more than the non-AI attack, or in percentages, you're looking at about 20% increase if the ones that are AI enabled. Security incidents involved unapproved AI tools, shadow AI, right? We've talked about this a lot. 43%, which is roughly double the previous year. Breached organizations with no AI governance policy in place. Want to take a guess at this? How many do you think?
75%.
Oh, you got it. 7 out of 10 had nothing in place, no AI governance whatsoever. And spoiler alert, go to unhackmybusiness.com, go to this episode 99, and I'm going to put together and make available a free AI policy template. All right. So like just start somewhere. I'm going to have a checklist. I'm going to have a policy template. Just get started somewhere. Where was I? Organizations breached through AI systems that lacked basic access controls. Want to guess the percentage on this?
I don't know. What is it?
92%.
Wow.
Guys, these are the basics. This is the whole point. This is everything I've been talking about from episode 1 of this podcast, is the basics aren't getting put into place. So AI is just accelerating it. This shouldn't be a surprise. It's kind of what we've been saying. It's new technology, but really we're just doing a different version of the same thing that we've always been doing.
Yeah, and a lot of it can be self-inflicting.
Well, tell me more.
I mean, it's, we in prior to AI, we've always, tried to dot the I's, cross the T's, make sure that you're, you know, putting the right firewall in place, right protection in place, making sure,
Yeah.
nobody's clicking on stuff, and trying to, we've set it up maybe 10 million times on the show. We try to keep the bad guys out, um, you know, but this time we're the ones pretty much, we could end up being the bad guys. We could end up doing something that destroys the data, that releases the data out in
Right.
the open,
Okay.
So,
Yep.
in a way, we're almost our own bad guys because we're just not doing what we're supposed to. We're not following the basics, like you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think what you're saying is well, like I said, we can unintentionally expose our own data. And then a step farther, because we've mentioned a couple times, there was the incident where one of these AI agents deleted an entire production database with no backups. So yeah, I think that's what you're saying, right? We
Yeah,
become our own
yeah.
bad guys. We're like shooting ourselves in the foot without really thinking through any of this. So, listen, I am Mario, because you're on vacation, because we have 2 no-shows today. We're going to make this one really short because I just want to drive this one point home, right? One point is, with all the things, we just handed you guys the keys to the kingdom. We showed you how to do it. We've got downloadables. We've got lessons, instructions, case studies of how to use AI. This is something that we all have to take super serious now. We have to turn around and go back through everything that we've built. And I'm going to put a check. I'm not going to read it on the air because it's technical, it's boring. But I am going to have a list of things that you need to go back and, if you've done any vibe coding, go back and check these things. If you have built custom projects or custom chat GPTs, whatever they're called, where you're doing integrations, like, go back and check all of this stuff. And then the number one thing, this is if you do nothing else, audience, this week, call your insurance company. Make sure, that you have a good cyber policy in place, and then make sure that they are covering AI. And I've got, let's see, I had a note, if I can find it, of the questions that you should be asking them. Maybe I'll go out and delete the pause later. Here we go. Does my current policy contain an artificial intelligence or generative AI exclusion? If so, read it to me. Okay, that's the first question. Then ask, if an employee uses an AI tool I never approved and it causes a data loss, is that covered? Question number 3, at renewal, what are you going to ask me about our AI use, and what answers do I need to have ready? All right. I'm putting all this together on a downloadable. Go to unhackmybusiness.com, download this stuff, call your insurance agent. If you do nothing else, call your insurance agent and find out what you need to do to make sure that you're still covered. Mario, that's like in 14 minutes and 50 whatever seconds. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Do you have anything that you want to add that we need to go over before we close out?
Yeah, I want to add is the fundamentals that we've been talking about for the last few years is still in play.
Yep.
Especially number one on the list, backups. You want to still have at least one port, source of backup, if not more. On site and remote in the cloud. Closed gap, because what I always tell like some prospects is, what would happen if this data, if your actual data, your ERP, your bookkeeping system, it's to disappear and you can never touch it again? What's plan B? Okay, this is the same thing. If
Yeah.
you're going to vibe code and you're operating your company with this new system that you put in place that may have saved you, I don't know what we've said, 10x, 50x, stuff. What happens if that system goes down, disappears, gets blown up, or just is not functioning anymore. How could you restore? You have to have a plan B. You have to have, you know, yes, you may be down for a day, you may be down for more than, a day, but it cannot close down your company. You need to make sure that you are able to easily recover because you have that data, and it's not the old system that you're using that's obsolete. Your existing stuff, back it up. If you are vibe coding, put in stuff in place like, I want you to do a daily backup. I want you to do a daily export, stuff like that.
No, you bring up a good point as far as data backups go. It's so common. At least it was. I think we're getting a little bit better about this in the industry, of making sure that we're backing up the proper data. Like, you have to go through, and I know the word audit can be, it's almost like a vulgarity, but you really need to go audit everything you do in your business. Not just where you think your data lives, but what do you do? How do you bring in new clients or customers or patients, whatever industry you're in? How do you market? How do you intake them? How do you onboard them? How do you deliver your services? What does your HR process look like? What is every admin role, everything that is done in your business, every system, every operation? How is it done, and where does that data live? And you've got to have a backup plan for that. And now we've just added a new one. If you're vibe coding or, using even in AI integrations, even if you're not building code, if you're using AI integrations, and something gets messed up with that, you've got to have this stuff documented and properly backed up. So I think I have it. I'm going to go double check it within the unhackmybusiness.com portal. The section on data backup has a guide for that, of how you need to go through and audit all of your systems and figure out where the data lives and build a plan to back it up. A test restore, for the love of God, test restore.
Yeah, and you can also use AI and actually have it check its own work and say, where's my vulnerabilities? What can we do to encrypt this data? What can we do to lock this down more? You can even use a different like agent or different AI and have it audit somebody else, audit the original work and say, where's my vulnerability? Now, there's some gray areas now with like Fable 5 saying like it's not checking security, like it's gonna block you out and stuff like that. You have to kind of just play with it, but you should be able to get another agent to, maybe like a more expensive agent to actually check the work and find out where or what you could improve on or what you can do to improve on the security that's in place now.
Yeah. Yep. Use AI to use AI. We've said that a few times, right? That's kind of what you're saying there. So
you're just the middleman.
Yeah, right. So Mario, that's it. That's what I've got for this week. We're keeping it short intentionally. I want you to get back to your vacation because you're having way too much fun to be doing this nonsense. We'll come back with more of a in-depth discussion once we've got our other two co-hosts as well. So for today, listening audience, call your insurance company. First, go to the website, unhackmybusiness.com, download the PDFs, the checklist, the guides from episode 99, and then pick up that phone and call your insurance agent and make sure that you're covered. That's it, Mario. That's all I got.
Wait, one last step. Step. They have to tune in for episode 100.
That's right. Episode 100 is coming up next week. It's going to be a good one, but it's going to be a surprise because I'm not going to tell anybody what we're doing yet.
Wait.
All right, Mario. That's it, huh? Any final thoughts? If not, we're going to get some outro music. I'll try to dance a little bit this time, and then we're going to let you get back to vacation. We'll come back strong for episode 100. So
you got it. I appreciate it, Justin.
Enjoy, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
I should not have made that commitment to dance.